Welcome to the 2025 Twin Cities Film Fest, brought to you by Stearns Bank. I'm Sarah McPeck, joining you from the red carpet from Edina Man Theater with new director Wendy Lobel. Lobel. I'm terrible. This is real life. Thank you, Wendy Lobel. And we're going to talk about the movie Anxiety Club. Don't worry, I don't have any. It's fine. We're doing fine. Wendy, tell me how you got started with this, and how did you get people to be so vulnerable to talk about all this?
That's such a good question. Well, I have anxiety. I have struggled with it for most of my adult life. And I had worked in television. I'd worked on a kids' news program about I'd done an episode about teens with anxiety, and this was back in 2013, and I just saw so much suffering, but I also saw that there was a certain kind of treatment that was really helping a lot of these kids, and so it was something that I decided to make a film about the experience of anxiety and how to get from anxious to calm, and to feature one of the characters going through this kind of treatment, exposure therapy. The comedian angle came a little later, and it was the best thing that could have happened because it just helps to make it a more accessible film. I did a lot of research, found a lot of comedians who, have anxiety and were doing material about their anxiety in their stand-up or in their sketch videos, and we found some great people who agreed to be interviewed.
So this is your first time directing a feature-length film. How was that turn for you, and what made you really want to, get behind the lens?
Well, I had been a TV producer for decades, really, and it was more than anything, it was that I wanted to tell this story. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't even like, I want to direct a feature film. I mean, it was more, I just want to help people with anxiety, and I want them to see that they're not alone, that there's help out there. And, I had been a producer. So I knew a lot about how to make a film, but there was a lot that I had to learn, and it's been a great experience. Of course, there's been a lot of anxiety, but it's been great. So,
how has this been received by the comics that you featured? How do they feel now that they've watched it all?
That's a great question. A few of them came to the premiere. We premiered at Doc NYC in New York. And so a few of them, Ava Victor, Baron Vaughn, and Tiffany Jenkins, who we featured going through therapy, they all saw it for the first time at the festival, and I think they really loved it. And a few of the comedians have been attending some festivals with me and we're doing a lot of community events where we have screenings with mental health organizations, colleges and universities, and some of the comedians have been participating in those. So it's been, I think they like it, and they see the value of it.
Well, I love that. I'm really wondering, how did you cast this? There's so many people to pick from. What are some of your favorite memories of filming this?
And I'm realizing I didn't really answer your question about the comedians getting vulnerable.
However,
but
let's do it all.
Okay, how do I? So some of it was word of mouth. People saying, "Oh, you gotta, listen or watch this comedian's material." Mm-hmm. In some cases, like with Mark Maron, I of course knew who he was, and he's like the poster child for an anxious comedian. So, let's see, in a couple of cases, I would find out where they were performing, and I would go up to them after and say, "Hey, we're doing this film. Would you be interested?" And as I started getting more and more comedians, it became easier to get the next comedian. So the first comedian was Aparna Nancherla. I reached out to her on her website, and she said yes. I don't think she realized that she was the only comedian at that point. She was my first one. But then And then when I did that at a comedy club, her interview at a comedy club in New York, and then after that, I was asking the people at the club who else should I reach out to, and they said, oh, you got to talk to Joe List. He's super anxious. And it was just, you know, one after another like that. And the main thing was that they all had to do material about their anxiety, either in their stand-up or their sketch videos. And in terms of their vulnerability in the interviews, I mean, they all knew that I struggle with anxiety, so they knew that they were talking to somebody who understands. And I think they also recognized that this was hopefully going to be a film that would help other people who are struggling with anxiety. So.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Wendy Lobel, for joining us at the Twin Cities Film Fest. Thank you for joining us at the Twin Cities Film Fest at home. My name is Sarah McPeck, and I will be seeing you back here at the red carpet real soon.